Could Ribbit really still be alive and show up in episode 6? Over the past week, Ribbit's become one of the most talked about characters in the amazing digital circus, and just so we're clear, I'm going to refer to him as a guy, even though there are theories saying he might be a girl or have no defined gender like Zooble. What we do know about him so far is that he used to be Jax's one true friend, someone he clearly had a blast with. I figured that out by looking closely at that concept art Gooseworx shared, where she revealed Ribbit's full design and a whole range of his expressions. And man, they look so much like Jax's in different episodes. But what if everything's not what it seems? What if Ribbit is actually still alive? What if his consciousness was transferred into another body? I already told you all about that mannequin that's been showing up in different episodes, and for a long time everyone just thought it was a little nod to Dr. Football from the pilot. But then came the very first teaser for episode 5, and boom, there it was again, that weird mannequin just standing there, totally out of place in the usual chaos of the digital circus. Still, at the time people brushed it off as another Dr. Football reference, or just a random background NPC like we've seen plenty of times before. Especially since in later teasers, he was nowhere to be found. So, yeah, everyone pretty much forgot about him. But right after episode 5 dropped, from the very first scenes, it was crystal clear the mannequin suddenly matters. And that final scene, it basically confirmed all our suspicions. At this point, I'm straight up convinced that not only will we see more of that mannequin in the next episode, but we'll finally learn what he's really hiding. And here's the kicker. Wasn't it kinda weird how Goose just casually dropped a full concept art of this character? Sure, some might argue it's like what happened after episode 3 where we saw full art of that angel NPC, and no, that didn't mean he'd become a core part of the story. But there's a huge difference. That angel, already established NPC. With Ribbit, we didn't know Jack, just his face. Then suddenly Goose drops a full body design plus a complete emotion sheet? Come on, that ain't random. And if we keep that in mind and remember how Jax's entire storyline in episode 5 basically kicked off after Ribbit was brought up, and add the fact that episode 6 is supposedly Jax focused, then yeah, I really do think Ribbit might be that mannequin. It's important to understand that Caine is literally all-powerful inside the digital circus. There are no real limits to what he can do within that world. He can manipulate the environment, the characters, even their thoughts, and most importantly, he has total control over the system itself, meaning he absolutely can bring someone back from being abstracted. After all, the characters in TADC are just digitized versions of real people's consciousness, trapped in some massive, ultra-advanced virtual system. And who holds all the admin rights? Right, Caine. We've already seen this in action. In the pilot, he fully healed Ragatha after she got wrecked. In episodes 4 and 5, he literally hijacked her mind for laughs and even messed with Jax's brain to make him go vegan. So if he can do that, then bringing Ribbit back from abstraction? Totally possible. And this is where it gets wild. What if Ribbit's consciousness never left? What if Caine didn't delete it but instead stored it, moved it into that weird mannequin we keep seeing? If we accept that theory, then episode 6 won't just be the Jax episode. It'll be the Ribbit comeback episode. We might finally hear his voice, see him move again. Maybe he's still trapped in that mannequin body, or maybe Caine decides to give him back his original form. Either way, I'm convinced Ribbit is still alive, and we're gonna see him in episode 6. And what's really important to understand here is that, like I said before, episode 6 is mostly about Jax, and that matters a lot when it comes to Ribbit possibly showing up. If you remember how Jax reacts to even hearing his name, it's already clear they were truly close, and the fact that Jax became so withdrawn from everyone else only proves it. Ribbit was probably the only one Jax could be real and honest with. And now that we're finally learning more about the rabbit himself, it makes total sense that Ribbit's story would be revealed alongside his, since those two are clearly tied together by a deep emotional bond. All these facts and coincidences almost scream that Ribbit has to show up, and now we just have to wait a bit longer. But remember how Pomni ended up in the digital circus, right? In case you forgot, it was 'cause of Kaufmo. She joined right after the clown abstracted, which means there can't be more than 6 people at once in the tent. So if we really think Ribbit's coming back in episode 6, it's only logical that someone else has to leave the circus. Unless, of course, he shows up as a mannequin. In that case, nothing changes. But let's imagine he's back as a frog. If that happens, someone from our usual crew will have to leave the digital circus, and I'm ruling out Zooble right away, because Gooseworx confirmed she'll be in all 9 episodes. It makes sense that Pomni as the main character has to stay in every episode too, and if we're talking about Ribbit coming back, it would be dumb to replace him with Jax, since his return would basically be for that purple rabbit's sake only. So we got 3 untouchable characters while Ragatha, Kinger, and Gangle are in the danger zone. And that actually makes sense if we just take a look at each of them, but let's go through them one by one. And I think it'd be right to start with Ragatha. You might say episode 6 is going to be about not just Jax, but her too. And I totally agree with you, but we can't really predict when Ribbit will come back. It could be anywhere from the middle of episode 6 to the final scene. Now let me explain why Ragatha might turn into an abstracted monster. From the start, we saw this character was kind of strange, even though she seemed super positive.
Don't freak out about it or anything, but we don't exactly...
You can't.
I'll let you get back to it if you are. There she is. Hope you're doing all right. I know yesterday was a bit of a doozy.
There was still this vibe that she was kind of pushy and not totally honest with everyone. All her actions seemed just about getting some praise or approval, and episode 3 showed that pretty clearly.
Yeah?
I just want to say thanks for always being concerned about me. I feel like through everything, I haven't really been appreciative enough about that.
Oh, thank you, Pomni. I just want to make sure you're doing all right. You know, we care about you.
We won't really consider episode 4 since she was basically under the influence of stupid sauce and didn't control her actions, but you could say it just gave us a little glimpse of her true self. Episode 5, though, was the clearest example because we learned all the reason behind Ragatha's behavior and finally saw that she's not the cheerful girl she wanted to seem. Her past haunts her like a heavy burden she can't shake off, and the main cause of this is her mother, who wanted to make her perfect and obedient, and in the end, it all turned into this.
First steps of a budding friendship, right, Ragatha?
Hey, Pomni. Remember when Cosmo smashed me against the walls and I got all jumbled up? All things considered, that was pretty funny, right?
No, not really.
Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, that was probably pretty traumatic for you.
Ragatha literally loses it when she sees Pomni starting to talk to Jax and realizing she can't do anything about it. Slowly, all her emotions come pouring out, and for the first time, we see her true rage.
Act like you never do anything wrong and everybody loves you, when in reality, you just fuck everything up for everyone else!
Okay, let's, calm down a bit.
What? You're the one who said it's fine to be a jerk sometimes! Ugh. I'm sorry, Pomni. That wasn't very cool of me.
It's fine.
And the final scene is like the cherry on top because it perfectly shows this character's total emotional exhaustion. And that strange scene only makes you think more and more about Ragatha's soon transformation into an abstracted monster. She's really on the edge, and realizing that she seems like a perfect friend, but no one actually wants to be truly friends with her is driving her crazy, and most likely will lead her to the worst in the digital circus. I remember I promised to tell you more about Kinger and Gangle, but honestly, I'm not sure how reasonable that is, since Kinger is a pretty predictable character who's learned to live with his pain for many years, and it's unlikely anything will push him to turn into an abstracted monster. As for Gangle, all you can really say is that she seems close to normalizing her state, especially considering her growing bond with Zooble. Of course, it's all relative, and anyone could turn into an abstracted monster in the next episode, and the only one who's definitely staying till the end is Pomni. As usual, I'm waiting for your thoughts in the comments, and see you soon in new videos.